Hello, everybody, and welcome to AJ's Side Panel. I'm your host, AJ. This week, we will be discussing three movies: Reign of the Supermen, Miss Bala, and Stan and Ollie. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started, shall we? Last year, animated film, came out called Death of Superman, or Superman Dies, or whatever. And, The Death of Superman. It was based off of a comic book of the same name, um, which had come out about over a decade ago. And in it, we saw Superman fight Doomsday and die because of his injuries. This is not a new storyline, I know. It's actually been an animated film before, and also kind of the basis behind Batman vs. Superman, except in that one, Martha saves the day. In this film, though, Superman had died at the end, and we were left to wonder what was going to happen. This was actually a film, The Reign of the Supermen, a film that we kind of wanted to see for a while, only because we had always seen what happens to Superman during the battle, but we'd never seen the fallout afterwards, at least not in animated form. It had taken different shapes and sizes and forms and whatnot, one way or another, and we never got to actually see it on the screen. I had always been excited and anxious for it. And I was not disappointed. Reign of the Superman picks up right after Superman's death and shows four different versions of Superman: Superboy, Steel, Cyborg Superman, and the Eradicator. And it depicts them having to pick up after Superman is no longer in this world, and how they would go about doing the job that Superman had done previously. I thought that the movie was really cool. I was excited to see it, and I was not disappointed. The storyline, the animation, everything was really cool. It took a lot of liberties, but it's the DCU or animated universe, that is, and they tend to do that sometimes. So the only problem I really had was some of the voice acting, uh, mostly in Rainn Wilson cast as Lex Luthor. Normally, that right would have gone to Clancy Brown. In a lot of the previous versions, you may know him as the Kurgan from the Highlander series. So hearing Rainn Wilson take over as kind of a high-pitched, whiny, voiced Lex Luthor kind of like pulled me away from it. It took away the evil of that Lex Luthor had portrayed and kind of added a whininess to it. And because of that, I was kind of bothered by it. Also, Jerry O'Connell returning as Superman, the voice actor, and I'm just not a big fan of his voice version of that. Um, but Jason O'Mara, I do like as Bruce Wayne. Otherwise, I mean, the film was pretty cool. I enjoyed it. Lots of big names taking over the voices. Jerry O'Connell, as I mentioned before, Rebecca Romaine as Lois Lane, Cameron Monaghan, Cress Williams, Patrick Fabian, Jason O'Mara, Rosario Dawson, Shamar Moore, Nathan Fillion, Christopher Gorham, Nyambi, Tony Todd, Charles Halford, Rocky Carroll. Um, just a lot of names showing up with the voices and stuff. So, with the exception of Rainn Wilson, all the other voices were kind of cool. And so, yeah. The movie, I enjoyed it. I mean, it was I really liked the DC animated universe as opposed to the DC film version. Over the years, I've done my best to try and stand up and defend the DC film version, but it feels like we're all beating a dead horse at this point. They don't even trust their own films, so why should I anymore? Um, so yeah, there you have it. Reign of the Superman. 2 thumbs up. Check it out if you are curious. Again, I'm not going into too much detail because I don't want to give too much away. So you'll have to watch it and enjoy it yourself or not. Moving on, I saw Stan and Ollie. This is a film that I saw the trailer of a few months back and was instantly attracted to it. I kind of like these kind of films, just because I'm always curious. There's stuff that is being portrayed that I am unfamiliar with. I grew up with Stan and Ollie, but more predominantly on the Abbott and Costello side. So seeing this film come out, I was extremely curious about it. It stars Steve Coogan as Stan Laurel and John C. Reilly as Oliver Hardy. And this film picks up, well, it shows the behind the scenes between Laurel and Hardy, uh, recovering from a 13-year gap in which they didn't work with each other. And during the film, you find out what the repercussions were, what led up to that moment, and what had happened afterwards. Um, I really like this movie more than I thought I would. I've reviewed autobiographical films and documentary style movies before, and sometimes they just aren't that good, and sometimes they do a great job, as is the case here. Both Coogan and Riley did a fantastic job in their portrayals of the two characters. There were times where I just had to sit there in amazement, like, wow, I can't believe these are these people. And so in that aspect, for acting alone, I have to give it up for this movie. But without giving too much away, the end of this movie, everything about this movie is touching and relatable, and at the end of the film, you're kind of left with a little bit of depression and whatnot. But that's not really the worst part. The worst part of the movie, I mean, the saddest part of the movie comes after the movie's over and you read a written epilogue of the film, of what happens after the movie ends. And that has to be the most depressing part of the entire movie. It's along the lines of, and Sam never made the leap home. If you're a fan of Quantum Leap, when you read those words on screen, you immediately got depressed. No matter how good that episode of that show was, that that last statement right there nailed uh, the it just did it for you. That killed you. That emotion, everything that it brought up, and that's what this film does. The epilogue in itself makes the entire film before it the most depressing movie that you've seen in a while, or at least this year. I can safely say that the most depressing new movie you've seen this year. There, I'll go on record with that. Um, and in that, it makes it a really good movie. Much like at the end of Split, you have that like last 5 seconds where that big reveal happens, and you're like, "Oh my God, this makes up for the entire film." That's what the epilogue does for me. Um, it just adds that little bit of heartbreak that makes it feel even more real and makes you understand a little bit more of the relationship between Laurel and Hardy. So I know there's a lot of people out there. When I had mentioned that I had seen this, that were like anxious and had said that they wanted to go see it. There's no time better than to see it now because it's about to go out of the theaters. It was kind of like a little independent release, um, and it's only back in the theaters right now, I believe, for the Oscar push. So if you haven't seen it, make the opportunity to go see it. It's worth it. Um, yeah, or even if you can't make it, it's worth it to Redbox or even purchase because it's a good movie. I enjoyed it. So moving on to Miss Bala. Miss Bala was an action movie that promoted the fact that there was um, a makeup artist in Gina Rodriguez, and that um, her best friend gets kidnapped, and she has to do some stuff for that people that kidnapped her in order to get her to go free. And that's what the trailer brought across. Um, this movie sucked. I'll be, I'll be kind of honest with you. I went to go see it just for the aspect of seeing a film on a Thursday night, which is what I do. It's like my habit. And so, times like that, even if the movie's bad, you kind of enjoy the fact that you're out of the house, you're kicking it, you're watching a movie, you're having a drink and some popcorn, or whatever your tradition may be when you go see the movie. And so, um, when I went to go see this movie, I knew it wasn't going to be the greatest, but I figured, there's still the movie going experience for you. Unfortunately, the audience I saw it was some of the worst audiences I've ever seen a movie with. I mean, the girl next to me was on her phone the entire time, and talking, and it just made for a bad experience. So if there were any good redeeming parts of this movie that were in there, unfortunately, I did not get to see it because I was already turned off by the fact that this movie wasn't really any good whatsoever. And then having the surrounding audience ruin it even more just was, the nail in the coffin. So, Gina Rodriguez is apparently, I am unfamiliar with her um, shows or movies. Apparently, she was Jane the Virgin. This movie was so bad, she still remained a virgin at the end of it. So it didn't appeal in any way, shape, or form to me. Anthony Mackie literally was in this film for a minute and a half. That's right. The Falcon, the guy from the Avengers and in all the other movies, Marvel movies, got top billing in this film. Was in it for a minute and a half, if that. I mean, I don't, he made no sacrifice to make this movie. Um, Also, this movie is predominantly in Spanish, which I didn't know, or at least thought maybe there'd be some subtitles. And there's like Anthony Mackie's in the movie more than there are subtitles in this film, and so unfortunately, I don't speak fluent Spanish, so a lot of the jokes and stuff were lost on me. Some of the crowd, who were fluent Spanish speakers, I presume, got a lot of the jokes. I did not. A lot of it was just over my head for me, so that was also a downfall. This movie made no attempt to connect with me as an audience member whatsoever, and thus I did not enjoy it. So I would not recommend it whatsoever. However, there was a film that came out in 2011 that this movie was based off of called Miss Bala, and it is a purely Hispanic film. Um, Premiered out at Cannes Film Festival and was selected to be the Mexican entry for the Best Foreign Language Film for the 84th Academy Awards. And reading the synopsis on this original film sounds like it would make a hell of a lot better movie than the whatever crap I watched at the theater last night. So because of that, I'm going to go and find this movie and watch it in comparison. See what happens. Or, I don't know, maybe I'll just cut my losses and just move on. Next week is another week, as they say. Well, so there you have it, guys. Those are my reviews for the week. Two good movies and one movie just to ruin the whole week for me. So hopefully next week brings out better films. If case you haven't seen or if you're new here, this is kind of the format. We do it quick, fast, and we try and get in and out. Give no spoilers. I just give you an honest review of the film. It is on you whether or not you want to go see the movie or not, based off of even after my opinion is given to you. We are now available on Spotify, TuneIn, as well as Google Play Music. And I please request that you ask Siri to play this podcast, because according to Apple now, Siri is now up on the show. So I'm trying to get out there, trying to get more people to tune in, and I really like a lot of responses and feedback if possible. Shoot me an email, forbiddenpanel@gmail.com, or you can find me on any of the social networks that are out there under the name Draven or Forbidden Panel. And every week I'm here. Any movies or any suggestions you may have, please shoot me an email. Let me know. Any disagreements, any conversations, anything you just want to geek out about films. That's what I'm here for. Again, forbiddenpanel@gmail.com. Please check out the website, forbiddenpanel.com. I've been AJ, and I thank you guys again for tuning in, and we'll catch you next week.